Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. I am your androgynous android game show host from the future, Nathan Blades. Welcome to the Neoncaster Twitch channel. I hope you are doing delightful this Saturday lunchtime. Or Saturday morning if you're in the US. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's been a little while since we did one of these, but I love doing these streams as a way to force myself, not force myself, but encourage myself to do a bit more miniature painting than what I would normally do otherwise, because it's really easy to get a backlog of minis that are unfinished. And finding opportunities to go and finish things in the backlog are always nice. This is actually one that I got the pieces for, I got the sprues for ages ago, then spent a very long time slowly putting them together. Let's get the box so you can see what the box is before we start painting. I mean, it's in the description, you can see beneath what we're painting, but still, we'll put the box on screen. Oh, gosh. Yeah, there we go. Necromunda. Necromunda Escher gang. This is what we are painting today. Although, we are not doing the regular builds for these. Necromunda is really interesting as, like, you know, styles of Warhammer games go. I've not really been super into Warhammer. My main experiences of it has been in high school when my high school crush was really into Warhammer. So I was like, oh, I'm also going to play this game so I get to hang out with him more. Was my initial experience with Warhammer, and then buying expensive paint and then buying expensive minis. And I bought the elves, the Eldar, because that's what they were called at the time. They weren't the Eldari as they are called now. And realizing that to be good with the Eldar, I would need to buy a lot of them because they, as an army, were designed to conquer in numbers. But because I am a teenager with limited personal funds, that was never going to happen, so I stopped playing pretty swiftly. And then in like sixth form, I did actually play a day of Necromunda with my friends that I played tabletop games with. I played tabletop RPGs with, and they had a day of playing Necromunda, and I was like, sure, Jan, and I kind of struggled my way through that. Pretty limited memories of it, you know? So it's interesting, and I wasn't as into cyberpunk then as I am now. So we've kind of come the long way round, and now we are in a thing where miniatures are actually a thing I properly collect, and I have no intention of getting rid of and giving to friends. They are mine now forever. So we can actually maybe go paint and build them. But yes, as I said, these are not the just straight out of the box ones. They are Kitbashed, which, if you do not know what kit bashing is, it is taking parts of multiple different model kits and using them together in tandem to create something new. This camera is not going to be the one that we'll be using for details, so it's going to be a little bit blurry. But this like afro head is definitely not part of the Necromunda Escher set. This very sci-fi looking gun and this like wrist blade is also not part of that set. We've got this lady running here with a chunky retro computer and a katana strapped to her back. You know, so we're doing a mixture. We've got a mixture going of both the proper Escher parts and then some really bizarre parts in total. Like this punk looking suit here is entirely from something else. I think this is from a Punga Miniatures, I think. Well, we'll go over them in detail. We'll go over them in detail when we can actually show them all properly on camera, what they look like. But yeah, we're going to be painting a bunch of those, which is going to be fun. I'm going to enjoy putting these. Let's move over. We have our top-down camera. Let's go move it this way a little bit. Yeah, there we go. let's go get some beats in the background as well, because beats are always important and good to have. Hold on a second while I go get some jams loaded. Around here. That should probably be fine. And then we're going to go and play this. Yeah. This should be good. This is good in my ears. But do let me know if it is too loud or too quiet for y'all. I would appreciate if you let me know. But yes, okay, with that out of the way, let's go start showing you before we start painting them. Oh no, let's not turn my light off. There we go, that's better. Showing you what we're painting today. So we've got this mini here. She has a Palm computer, is carrying a pistol. This pistol is actually from Necromunda and has a katana strapped to her back, because I wanted a lot of them to have like a melee and a ranged weapon, but also I really, really wanted one of them to be kind of like a hacker type with the computer. This doesn't do anything at all in Necromunda whatsoever. I just think it's cool. We have, as I was showing before, this Afro lady here. This head, I think, is from Pathfinder. Oh, there is a knock on my door. Sorry, where was I? So we were going through the various minis that we have here. Okay, so this one, which I showed, this kind of like, I really, really like this body. It is from a kind of like fan expansion to like Blood Bowl, one of the like miniature games that you can play as like essentially a fantasy combat version of football or American football. I think Blood Bowl is supposed to be like American football, right? So people kind of do their fan teams, and this is from like Hammer Horror Vampires set. So this actually had like a little Dracula head and everything attached, but I really liked the big chunky shoes and the suit. So we've gone and attached somebody with we've gone and attached the regular kind of like Escher head to it. This sword and a lot of the conversion bits, the bits that we're using for the kit bashing today, are from Anvil Industries. Oh, the bases are Necromunda bases. These are actually regular bases from Necromunda. We were just kind of using those, but they are very, very nice. And unfortunately, most Games Workshop places don't have them. So if I need more, I'm going to have to order them online, which is fun. But yeah, this particular sword and some of the stuff like the computer that we've got here and the sword and this katana on the back are from a company called Anvil Industries, who are based in the UK. They do a lot of Warhammer conversion bits, but very recently did like a cyberpunk expansion. So I went and bought a bunch of those bits and pieces to kind of use. We have... This Electro Whip is from the proper Escher group, which is really cool. I really like that. As is this big jacket. This kind of like punk jacket on the back. But the legs and body and head are all from the Anvil line of Cyberpunk minis. So I've kind of like... This one was actually really difficult to glue together. It's making a bunch of pieces that aren't supposed to fit, you know what I mean? So this one I was quite proud of when I got this put together, actually. Initially I had a Necromunda head on it, but it felt really small, so I had to go and remove the head and then put the Anvil, who has slightly larger heads, back on. If you actually put these two heads side by side, you can see that this one is a little larger than this one. The big hair kind of balances them out, I guess. We have this crouching one. This is really fun. The body actually is from an Infinity miniature. So it's a metal mini actually that I've gone in like glued, not pinned. I tried to pin and it was a difficult time. This mini was actually quite delicate. The arms are quite spindly. Like glued these Necromunda punk arms onto. Maybe a little big for her, but I quite like this really wide matrixy guns akimbo stance. I think initially this character was supposed to be a hacker and had her hands like splayed out to the side like that, but I quite liked that being two different guns. We have this one here. This is almost all standard Necromunda Escher parts aside from the arms, which are like bladed wrist blades. Very, very Cyberpunk 2077 kind of giving them a bit of like a bolero jacket look, actually. Most of the Escher minis are sleeveless, so having sleeves on the sculpts is now actually quite interesting. That's probably going to change how I color them a little bit. And then last one, and I had a lot of trouble putting this together, so I actually only really finished putting this one together yesterday, is a heavy unit. Oh, I'm getting a little bit too much glare. The sun's come out, so now it's maybe this helps. There we go. So it is legs from regular Necromunda, and then the torso and head are from Anvil Industries, and then the arms are Necromunda, including this Gatling gun, this big Gatling gun with the big pack on the back. I had to use a little bit of Milliput. Or some people use green stuff. Various different brands are the same thing. It's essentially epoxy putty, so it will harden if you leave it for like half a day or so, which you can then shave and resculpt. So I used that to kind of fill the back of this out because it had a big dent in it where it's supposed to sit in the body of a character. So yeah. Those are my 7 minis. Those are my 7 minis that we'll be going through today. We're going to be going doing a bit of what people kind of call lazy style paint. We're going to be doing a lot of dry brushing, and then we're going to be using contrast paints and speed paints. We used some speed paints last time we did one of these to go and paint our little samurai fella. Good stuff is Milliput. You can change up his consistency with more water. Yeah. I kind of used the a very kind of Play-Doh-y kind of build initially, and then used some water and a sculpting tool to get a smooth kind of edge to it. And it worked really easily. I mean, I wasn't trying to do anything too fancy with it. It was just to kind of fill in a gap, but it was literally like 3 minutes of work. I was expecting it to be a lot more difficult than that, to be honest. Are you going to be painting anything today alongside us, Tom? I know that you've been working on a lot of projects this week because you've been talking about how you've been busy painting, but you've not really told me what you've been painting. I'd be very interested to find out what you've been working on. But yeah, we're going to be doing a lot of dry brushing to kind of build up some form, some levels. We've painted these in the light grey, and we're going to go even lighter with what we're going to be doing with it. And then we're going to be using speed paints and contrast paints to kind of just color it, just give it that color, and then we're gonna give it a purple wash, and then we'll be done. We're not going to be working too hard because we're doing a lot of minis all at once. We want to be working smarter, not harder. You know what I mean? So first of all, we're going to be using some of this Gene Stealer purple, this lilac. We're going to be dry brushing it all over. I've got a chariot currently in the works. My side project is one of the Kingdom Death ones, which I'm going to do up in gold and white silver FF14 Cine to kind of look. Okay, yeah. Very ornate. I might have to kind of look into marble statues and things like that for inspiration on how to color that. People find painting white to be very, very difficult. Okay. Thanks, Car, for pulling upside with the big, thick beats. We've got our wet palette handy, and we're just gonna... Although, to be honest, we might actually be working straight from the pot. I should probably shake the pot first, actually. It is a bad idea to work with paints without shaking them first. Gotta, put that hand to good use turns out that I am very good at vigorously shaking with my left hand. Who knew? But yeah, forcing myself out into the sunshine may do a bit of painting when you get back. Yeah, for real. Thank you for popping in, even though you've got a busy afternoon ahead of you. Thanks for stepping in. We're probably going to be going until about 5 or so. I think that's usually how long we went last time. Yeah! Okay, there we go. Gosh. Ugh. There we go. That's much thicker consistency. That's what we want to see. So what we're going to be doing is that we're going to be getting a nice, helpful splodging of our purple. And then we're going to be working it into... That's actually way too much. That's fine. We're going to be working into the brush, doing it like this, until it feels like we've removed most of it. And then we're going to take one of our minis. Let's go and take this one first, because I think it's the biggest form. And we're just going to start getting you out of the way, please. Thank you. I'm just going to start lightly brushing across the top in it. And we're just going to, I've gone in a little thicker this, I think. It could have probably stood to be thinner, but it's fine. We're going to be doing additional dry brushing on top of this. But we're just going to be using this to go and catch all the raised areas of the mini. We're going quite thick. Just to kind of catch most of it and give it a shade of purple. We want, in theory, when we start using our speed paints. So the speed paints and contrast paints are slightly translucent. They're essentially pigmented in a thin medium. So colors underneath will show through. And we are going to be banking on that to give us some tones of purple. Working it back into the brush. That show through on the other side. So it's okay if we're going a little thick because we're going to be doing another round of dry brushing in white on the other side of this. So we can go quite intense for now, but there's recesses and stuff that haven't been caught by it and that are just in the regular gray. This is maybe a little dark. We'll see. I might be mixing this with a bit of white in there on the next mini. We're experimenting here at the same time, you see. So there are things about this that might go wrong. And that is fine. Things are allowed to go wrong while we are experimenting. It's how we learn and try new things. Yeah, I think the purple is maybe a little dark in contrast to the light grey that we're using, but that is okay. But that is okay. I am fine with that for now, but we're going to go and experiment with getting a lighter colour down. Let's see. We are going to go and get our Model Air White. Give that a shake. Rather than using the wet palette. We're just going to stick with a regular kind of palette that I use. I try and keep it clean, but it's, never really stays clean for very long. We're going to take some of the purple that we were using and just kind of mix it in. There we go, that's much brighter. Much brighter purple. A bit whiter, a bit more white. Just working that into the bristles and then working it back out again on this until we remove most of it. Okay. And then we're going to go and take our next mini. Let's go and take Afro Lady here. And just start dry brushing again. There we go. Ah, yeah. This is a bit paler. This is more what I envisioned in terms of color payoff. Just getting to be careful about not pushing too hard. This is a single contact point mini, so she's wiggling a little bit when I brush with the dry brush, but it's all good. We want to get the back of that gun as well. Yeah. Just want those hints of purple across the mini that I will then build up into a more sensible color story once we've got all the other bits and pieces together. Now we want to have a little bit of purple that carries through each of the layers as we paint the mini. Oh gosh, just dip my finger directly into that bit of purple. Whoops. Okay, there we go. Let's go take this one. Yeah. Just get that lavender all across him. Yeah, no, it's interesting, like, because one of the interesting things about Necromunda as opposed to like mainline Warhammer is that instead of working with an entire army, you're working with a gang, smaller number of people, and it gives you the ability to go and tell, I guess, more personal stories. Necromunda, when it was initially released, I think it came under a different name, I think. Did a little bit of research into it, and I've immediately forgotten all the nerdy, finer details. Apologies. But it came under a different name, but the idea was that it was essentially a role-playing game, more than being a war game. So it was very, very much about building a gang that you could become attached to, that would level up and grow as you did more skirmishes, that kind of thing. Got this purplified. Nice. We're working quickly, which is nice. I think part of the reason why people enjoy doing dry brush techniques and the like is because it doesn't take as much time. If I was the kind of person who was painting full armies, I would have to be very concerned with how much time any particular paint job takes me, because I have to maybe work on 20, 30, 40, maybe even more models at once, and making that not a time-consuming chore. Let's go work on this one. Gosh, much taller than the others. Definitely a heavy unit. That's just what I wanted. I quite like, because in my kind of looking up minis adventures, because once you start getting into collecting miniatures, it all then becomes about looking at other ones and going, ooh, do I want that as well? Kind of thing, endlessly and forever. And a thing that I've kind of noticed in especially kind of like gang style games is the idea that the heavy unit, the person that's carrying heavy weapons, is bigger and stronger because they need to go and carry the heavy weapons, but also they tend to make them just really, really fat. And fatness is fine. You know, the people in a gang can be all shapes and sizes, but because games like Necromunda are based in kind of level of like grimness, or not just Necromunda, but like Blood Bowl and just regular 40k, are all based in the level of being like, everybody is kind of evil and gross, and so they tend to make the fat characters not just fat but corpulent, let's say. And I don't think that doesn't seem fair to me. That seems not nice. So it's always nice when you come across mini designs that show different body types, but they're not necessarily trying to make the characters seem grotesque just because they're larger. You know, we want to avoid that energy. Okay. Is there more? I maybe want to do a little bit more purple on her kind of like loincloth bit underneath. I've not dry brushed as much of the paint off as that as I should. It's in an area where there isn't a lot of light getting to it, so it means that the dry brush isn't probably going to be getting to it either, but that is okay. We've got enough going on there. That's fine. We've got our highlighting stage on later as well, remember, so there'll be opportunities to suggest more depth as we go. We're gonna purple up this hand and gun. Nice, nice, nice. And the hair as well. We're gonna reload our brush. This is definitely in a lighter purple than some of the others, but that is okay. Done is better than perfect. We are being willing to be faintly sloppy, faintly, you know. We're enjoying the joys of painting rather than the joys of perfection. You know, I think one of the big things that stops people, or at least me, from painting something is the idea that the model is too fancy, maybe too expensive if it is collector's edition, to be, you know, painted by me at my skill level or whatever. And I don't think I'm the only person that kind of suffers from that kind of I guess it's an imposter syndrome, but also kind of like confidence, right? Of like, oh, you know, I'm only starting out. I haven't painted enough minis to be able to do this particular sculpt justice or what have you. I think that's a pretty common feeling I think a lot of people get. So the ability to not overburden oneself on some projects, and you just paint good enough to show up on tabletop and look ordinary. They are painted, you recognize what they are, and that is all you can ask for, and that's fine, you know. We don't wanna have to overburden ourselves doing something that is too intimidating, when if you finish a small project, you're probably going to be riding high. You know, if you have the confidence to finish a small project, you might build yourself up to go work on a larger one. And hoo boy, oh, there are larger projects that I want to paint and don't feel ready for yet. There is like a bunch of special edition Malifaux cyberpunk minis that I am really looking forward to getting the chance to paint, but I do not feel ready to paint them yet. There we go, we've got purple, I think very clearly on this mini in the raised areas now, and again we're going to be going in finer detail. This is just Vex. I think it's a mix of both that and the same feeling people get when they can't use a sticker because then it's wasted and you want to show you use it wisely and never end up using it. Yeah, no, that too. Also, good morning / good afternoon, Vex. It's a pleasure to see you. I hope you're having a good Saturday. I definitely also have stickers that I want to use on something and need to decide where I want to put it because it needs to be on something cool. Actually, no, for real, you call me out so hard. I have this. No gender, only void as a sticker. And it is so good, but it's also huge. It's also huge, and I need to know where I want to put this fucking thing. It might actually be on my, like, wargame cases, you know? Put a layer of varnish down so it can stick to that. And then, like, decoupage over the top so it sticks. But, like, yeah. No. I feel you. I absolutely feel you. Absolutely feel you. What a mood. Where would you put it? Where would you put it? I have a dice box that I put stickers on. But unfortunately, that one is too large for it, right? I have things that I turn into, like, sticker collections and stuff. But, yeah, that one is just a little bit too large. All right, let's go. I know that you do a lot of painting, Vex, but I didn't know that you did miniatures. If you've ever done miniatures before, put it on your computer case. Yeah, that's enough. Good. That's definitely a large enough surface area for you to be able to do that. Just gonna take a little bit more purple, not too much. I'm gonna mix it with the remainder of my white. Okay, and we're gonna be painting our leader. I think this is gonna be our leader unit with the whip. Just gonna dry brush all that purple on top. Get that covering all the big surface areas. It's okay if it bleeds into the bits a little bit, because we're gonna be doing that detailing on top after. And all the deep recesses are going to be in shadow once we start putting our shading paints on. Done it some years ago. Yeah. No, mini painting is intimidating, but when you get into it, you're like, no, this is sick, actually. Would love to do this more. My partner is definitely somebody who paints for tabletop rather than for perfection. But he's been doing really, really good work. He's got super into Marvel Crisis Protocol recently, which is, you know, as the name suggests, a miniatures war game based around the Marvel universe. Not necessarily the MCU, actually. They do a lot of comic characters, and in fact, most of the designs of the characters are based on their comic runs. But it's a pretty interesting war game, and the minis are huge. Making them, well, I say huge. They are larger than these, giving us a lot more kind of like room to be able to paint them and do designs. There's a Gambit one that I started and hadn't finished, which might be the subject of. There may have to be one of these tabletop tea time streams. Oh, don't wiggle too much, friend. You are pinned to your base, so you're not going to fall off, but I am still concerned. One of these where it is just finishing up minis that I've started. You know, ones that got a good way in, but just needed that last little push to kind of get them done and looking good. Okay, so we've done our dry brushing. You can even see at this distance that they are definitely more purple than grey at this point, which is what we want. We want that purple tinge. Actually, Vex, since you watch a lot of streams of Jonathan Vare, part of that friendship group. I mean, it's an oil painter technique, right? Where you do all the basing in a really bold color. Or a really firm color, and that is supposed to kind of inform the color theory of the rest of it. That's what we want to try and do here. Usually when people do this technique, they go and do it in just shades of gray, you know, working from a dark gray to a white. And I like that. I like that idea, but I also like the idea of doing undercoating to make it come through in complicated ways on top. I think you usually use glazes to do that kind of thing. So, you know, this is just a funky little experiment, I guess. Okay, with that out of the way, we're going to, instead of using like a fancy white, we're just using like a dollar craft store white. This has been so good. The coverage is really good and it's not lumpy, and it's been really, really good for both dry brushing and basing. I love this paint. And it was like, what, £1.50? £1.99, rather than paying like 3-4 quid for a Citadel white. You know what I mean? Granted, the idea of using an off-white is probably really what people should be trying to be shooting for this kind of thing, but I've never really been one to do what I'm told. Okay, we've got nice dollop of white. Love seeing experimental approaches, helps you understand better colors better. Yeah. No, this is definitely things that this is building on things that I learned from working on previous minis. Okay, so we are now going to be doing a much more detailed approach, where we are going to be specifically trying to be hitting the raised white areas of the mini, using the other more detailed end of the brush. Sorry, just hitting it so we get more white coming through. Maybe I didn't load the brush up enough to do that. It doesn't feel like it came through strongly enough. Let me try that again. This is maybe a little too much, but I do like being able to see what I'm doing. We're just picking up the raised areas that would be in the light. Getting stuff like the belt buckles, the tops of the shoes. There's less of this. You know, we're doing less of this than the purple, where we were hitting pretty much everywhere that we could get our filthy little mitts on. This is more kind of diffuse, or rather, this is more specific in that we're trying to hit specific areas of the model. But we're also kind of going for, I think, a diffuse, rather than like a really strong light source direction. We're just hitting a lot of exposed areas of the model. You know, we're making sure that the tips of these blades, for example, are nice and bright, because that area we want to have the color come through the most. We dry brush her face a little. Yeah. We've got the edges of these various clothing folds, because this being a cyberpunk miniature, they have all sorts of accoutrements that are clogging up their design, that we are making sure stick out. So once we get the paint on these, once we get the big colors on these, they will hopefully stand out nicely. You know, we're just getting that kind of thing going. I really, this mini is definitely my favorite of all of them. I really like the running pose and the way that she's carrying the mini computer and running. I think tells a bit of a story. It's always interesting when you can get the minis to do a bit of storytelling. I haven't named any of these characters yet, actually. You know, part of the process of these is supposed to getting super attached to the character, and giving them a story, and reveling in their successes and failures. You know what I mean? Just picking out the lighter parts. So maybe we'll develop names for these characters as we go. We'll see. Just doing it lightly and casually. Oh, I don't know if I'm feeling Sonic colors right now. Excuse me. Let's move you on. That's too high energy. There we go. Ooh. Because if we want to like bring back the lilac in the design, we can always return. We can always add more layers of lilac to this. When we go and do our layering stage, if we want to bring back this home color as part of our work, but the contrast paints are going to be doing the majority of the work for us. You know, there's been a lot of discussion about, you know, how whether contrast paints are like cheating, or do they do the best results? And they're not perfect on their own. I think with the small experiments that I've been working with them so far, I think they work great if you then go back in with other regular paints to try and build depth back in, rather than just covering it in contrast paint and being done, I think. Or maybe it's just my preternatural need to fiddle. You know, it's all like, oh, no, this can't be done. I need to mess with it some more and potentially ruin all the good work that I previously did. I'm very much that kind of person, unfortunately. You know, sometimes it's not necessarily the best option to fiddle with something after it's maybe done, when you've worked on something for a really long time, and just go like, oh, maybe I don't need to poke at it more than what it currently is. But I am always someone who likes to fiddle. We've got our punk bouncer style character. Doing the hair dry brushed is very interesting. It kind of feels I'm torn as to whether I did enough layering of the purple on top. But actually, this is coming through. Maybe having them this dark was actually the plan, because this gets brightened up a lot by the dry brushing of white on the other side. But, you know, we'll... As ever, everything is an experiment. We continue to learn. Continue to learn. If you're not learning, you are dead. I find, you know, not to get super deep. I'm doing art myself, but enjoying hearing me talk. Oh, I love the fact that you are also finding the opportunity to go and get some art done. That is one of the big reasons why I am I'm doing this, actually. In addition to getting myself to work on pieces, it's also encouraging other people to work on pieces too. But yes, I find that, not to be super philosophical at like 2 in the afternoon on a Saturday, but I do find, you know, that at least for me, the meaning of life is continuing to learn and continuing to be creative. I think are my 2 major things. Oh, you and your partner as Sonic characters. That's cute. That's cute. I mean, in a different world, you'd be like, oh, cringe. But I find fan characters to be really endearing as an idea. After all, I was big into Mega Man Battle Network back in the day, and had a Battle Network OC that carried through the eras, and that has definitely informed things like the VTuber character that I use now. Is you know, I would definitely say that the OC that I had back then has informed my character design tastes and sensibilities now. You know what I mean? So it's great. It's great. I fan characters is definitely a way for people to go and experiment with the idea of character design in a safe environment where there are rules. You know, there are kind of rules to designing a character as a fan character because there's a world that they're supposed to sit in, you know what I mean? Okay. Yeah. We've got the dry brushing done. Easy. Easy work. No problem. There's still a fair bit of purple on that brush. Come on. So make sure that that's all been gotten rid of. Get rid of the rest of that. Nice. So now that we've got our kind of like base done, where all of these minis are lightly dusted in purple with white highlights, we're going to go in with our speed and contrast paints. Necromunda miniatures, they all seem to have a similar kind of like plating. They have like a main outfit color, which they're like, you know, breastplates and loincloths are in one color. There will probably be like a black or gray for the kind of like boots and tights. There'll be obviously a metal color for their weapons, and they have vibrant colors for their hair. I'm still kind of like deciding on color scheming as we go. I definitely know that I want to do the main colors. This looks like a deeper color. This will come out in magenta once we start putting it on the mini. So I definitely want to like get it in magenta and then do the highlights in like a pinkish peach color with the low lights in purple. So we've got like a purple depths in the mini into pink magenta as a main, and then highlighted in a very pale peach. But we also need to kind of decide on like secondary colors. They aren't going to be as leading, so we are probably going to be going for kind of like dark, like a dark gray for lots of bits and pieces. Maybe making it a purple gray, mixing two speed paint colors together. But we need to maybe decide on another accent color that goes alongside the pink. Pink purple suggests to me in color theory that that would be, what, a greeny yellow? Would be the other end of the color wheel on that. But I do wonder what other colors we can kind of go for as a complement. Maybe that's something we'll decide as we go. We're going to focus on doing all the pink parts of the minis for now, and then we can kind of take a step back and think about how we want to proceed in terms of color story. Oh, this also needs a shake. Always good to give these a shake before we get going. Nice. Okay. And actually, if I recall, we don't need the palette. We can go straight from the pot on this one. If we need it to be thinner, I have medium that I can work with. But for the most part, we can actually paint on relatively thickly. We, again, are going to be using our, like, punk bouncer, because I think the entire suit is going to be in this kind of contrast pink. Oh, I can paint more thickly than that, huh? Okay, that's fine. Never really know how thick you can go on these kind of things, so I was kind of holding back a little bit, but this brush can hold a fair amount of paint. And it seems that we need to paint quite thickly to kind of get the contrast to go. As I recall, this particular contrast paint requires 2 coats. One as like a base for it to adhere to, and then another to kind of get the real depth of it in. This is coming in a little dark, actually. Can we see? Yeah, I can see. I'm just going to leave this open. Yeah, the consistency of contrast paint is very strange. It feels really patchy when you initially kind of put it on. There's a lot of pushing it around the miniature. And also the kind of like, oh, I don't want to have too much or too little. This feels like too much, but it's actually kind of, you know, running into all the crevices and everything for me. The idea of contrast paint is that it comes with it has like a surface tension to it. So it naturally falls into gaps, creating shadows, and pulls away from edges, creating highlights, rather than us having to manually go and do all the shadows and highlights, although we are going to do the shadows and highlights manually after this is all dried as additional detailing. But this is just a way to get the ball rolling so we don't have to stress out as much about working on a mini with so many minis at once, right? It's easy to get exhausted having to paint that many minis in one go, in one sitting. So we are using the technology afforded to us to make it a little less of a ball ache. I quite like that pooling in the back there. That feels like that gives a nice natural shadow. So I'm not gonna mess with that. I'm gonna let that dry. But yeah, this is quite a strong wine red. I was maybe expecting more of a magenta. But I guess this is magenta? I don't know. It depends on how picky you want to be about it. It is darker than what I would expect. But this is what the like additional layering is going to be for. You know, we can revisit this once it dries with further color. Just finding all those areas that need to be painted in the target color. You can already see how it's forming highlights and shadows for me already, which is nice. Very cool. Maybe I only need the one coat, actually. Maybe I don't need two. Oh, I don't know why I have a painting handle. Oh. I'll make this a little easier. It makes this a lot easier. The inside inseam of their trousers. An interesting like lore point, I guess, of the Escher gang is that they are all women, which was, I suppose, in the 90s very provocative as an idea. A gang in a war game being all ladies, and it's pretty cool. It means that their sense of aesthetic is actually quite different from the other gangs in Necromunda. They have much more of a glam rock vibe to them, a punk glam rock vibe to them, which is cool. I actually really like that about the Eschers. It's why I felt compelled to go poke at them as a, as a group to go paint. But, sorry, dragging this closer to my face for a minute while I go and find the remaining details. But on the other side of it, I'm also kind of like, well, you know, that's still pretty narrow. I would want a group, a gang that I would run, or I would want a cyberpunk gang inherently to be quite gender diverse, personally. So I'm like, okay, what if, rather, if this is supposed to be a gang that's about a gender minority, a social gender minority, what if most of this gang are queer? They are gender non-conforming gangers. They have all moved away from their homes and clans that for one reason or another didn't fully accept what they are and who they be. And they were like, well, okay, we can go to this gang who take in all the queer cyberpunks of the Ash Wastes, and we support each other and also have very cool sci-fi guns, is my kind of like lore for what this gang is going to be. So they might not all have a she-her gender identity, even if a lot of them have femme signifiers like breasts, because you don't need to have she-her pronouns just because you have dem titties. Yeah, getting the inside of this, the gun is blocking a lot of the inside here. Oh, this is quite blurry. You can see it at that distance. There we go. Should we refocus it so you can see it this distance? Oh, thank you. Yeah. No, I want a cyberpunk gang of genderqueer, bodily augmented rebels. You know what I mean? Let's refocus it so this is the range that you can see at. There we go. Because I think this is going to be the distance that I'm holding these at for a while, so you can see a little better. But yeah, very, very important to me that pretty much every single, like in every tabletop RPG I play, the character I'm playing is queer in some way in the like LGBTQ plus umbrella. So it stands to reason that any miniature games I play similarly feature queer characters. This character has like a skirt, which is also going to be in the red. This could be in the secondary color actually, but that's okay. We still need to decide what color the boots are going to be, and I think the boots are going to be in the interesting contrast color. We'll see. What else needs to be done? Yeah. There's a bit of a front tabard here. Painting the inner thigh a little bit on accident, but that's all right. You know, it doesn't have to be super precise at this basing phase. We can clean it up, especially while the paint's still wet, actually. You can kind of go in with a wet brush and just schloop all this up. Clean up the edge, and then we can go back in later and neaten that properly. Yeah, we've got the magenta on this mini now. I don't think there's anything else that I specifically want to paint magenta on this mini yet. We can always return and paint more. Oh, she's got a headband. That might be in the contrasting color too, actually. Let's go take our boss, because her jacket is definitely. See this jacket? I really like this punk jacket that she's got. The pink makes the pinky purple makes them look like ditto. Just piling it on. We can be quite lax about this one. Because I think a lot of the additional designs will be brushed on top in a different color, so we can just kind of like flat fill all this in contrast paint. Not to get any. Oops, sorry. Better not get any on her arms. The back of the coat. Yeah, there we go. And then in the front here. There's a little skull pauldron. So punk. We've got a little bit of the lining, the jacket here. And the coattails underneath, which is going to be a bit tricky to get at. But sorry, give me a sec. This is probably going to be one where I have to pull it quite close to my face to be able to do properly. Fiddly, fiddly. Fiddly, fiddly. Okay. Gosh. Yeah. No, this one's tricky. I mean, there's something to be said of if there's an area of a mini that isn't going to be seen, you don't actually have to paint it. But, you know. One wants to try. Okay. That's looking pretty good. All right. And then we're going to, I almost dipped that into my actual water. Don't want to do that. We are going to go in and clean up some of the areas that I got a little bit of excess paint on. Just wiping that away. Just wiping that away. It kind of blends in to the undercoating that we already have going, so it's not too bad. It's not too bad. It gives us more of that pink color palette, pink-purple color palette to kind of work with later. So we've got the magenta on the coat, but you'll know. Yeah, that's true. I will know. But it's fine. We move. She has little boot shorts on. Oh, let me move closer. She has little boot shorts on. So let's go paint those in the magenta as well, actually. I think that would be nice to have in the red. Like this was part of all of one set, and then she cut the trousers super short so she can have her robot legs shine through. Because these are cybernetic legs, you can tell. They've got joints to them, but she's also wearing high top trainers. This is a very, very, very cool sculpt actually from anvil industry. I quite like these cyber legs, although they were an absolute bastard to get to sit on the bases because the bases are so uneven. It was very difficult to go and find a base that she would actually sit on, and I actually had to pin her to the base to get that to sit correctly, but you know. Okay. Looking sick. Is there anything else on this that I want to paint in this color? I don't think so. I don't think so. Okay. Moving on. I'm not quite sure how I want to do the whip either. Do I want to do the whip in pink? The whip might be like an interesting electrical gradient-y thing. So maybe I do the segments of this in pink, and then experiment with kind of gradiating it to a different color as it gets to the end. Or yeah. We're gonna base the entire whip in this contrast paint, and then kind of go back in to give it a color gradient when we do additional layering later on. And again, we can just, because I think this magenta will be a nice color base for whatever colors that we work with later, because it's quite textured, the whip. So this will sink into all the recesses, which we can then make good use of later. Also, I hope you enjoyed your walk, Tom, if this is you coming back already. Oh, it was a little bit too thick there, but that's fine, not a problem. Not a problem. Again, this is a tricky thing to paint accurately, but it's fine. Just making our way through. And, you know, no mini is... Well, a mini never has to be truly finished if you don't want it to be. I can always... it was naturing it down there, not quite hay fever season yet. I gotcha. Last weekend, I was in Wales for a friend's birthday party, and we went for a walk around some stately gardens on the Monday. And despite it not being hay fever season, I'm like the entire time, and it was miserable. Hated it. No. I was definitely feeling it. I wasn't miserable. It was an interesting time. But yeah. Definitely a thing that I now have to contend with. Fun. All right, what have we got going on here? She has a sleeveless jacket that we can paint in red. Magenta. Okay. Ooh. I think I might need an additional light source. I might have to go and plug in the other light. So I'm finding, as I paint on this side, because I'm left-handed, I'm having a little bit more trouble because it's not as well illuminated as the other side, but that is okay. Wow. And then we're going to go and paint this loincloth down here, which didn't really get hit with the purple dry brushing at all. I also have to move my mic stand back a little bit. It's a little in the way. Okay, there we go. That's better. Now I can actually lean in rather than bonking into my microphone repeatedly like a cool, smart person. So painting the back of the loincloth. They have full trousers, but they still have a loincloth vibe going. Is there anything else on this that needs to be painted in red? Possibly not. Possibly not. That is fine. Let's go and remove some of those excess bits. I might need to refresh my water as well, actually. Yeah, that's maybe died in a little bit too much, but it's fine. We'll be doing skin a little later too. The skin we're also going to do in contrast paint, or speed paint rather, and then kind of, you know, working some magic to get the layering how we need it. Some additional layering of skin tones that aren't in contrast to get it looking even. But you know, we're trying to work quickly. Trying to work quickly. Oh, I managed to get some on the boot. Excuse you. It's fine. Let's go for this one. What are we painting? This side for sure. Oh, I managed to accidentally make it a little too watery. That's fine. I guess you can't really thin down contrast paints with water. Understood. Yeah, decorating these characters with so many, like, accessories and the like is fun, but also it does result in situations where I'm like, oh, I can't actually get at that part of the mini at all. Yeah, she just has a bikini. She doesn't have any other major parts of cloth that need to be coloured. Do underbust a little bit. There we go. Nice. That's pretty straightforward. Okay. We're almost done with doing our basic speed paint of magenta. This one is actually another relatively straightforward design, I think, in terms of painting. Or at least there's a lot more open space on this mini. So now you're back, Tom. What's the mission statement? What are we working on today? Or have you managed to get your rather, because you were talking about the Kingdom Death mini that you wanted to paint. Are we starting with that? I think you said there was another one that you also wanted to work on. Let me scroll back up, chat. That wasn't that far long ago. Chariot. Ah. Yes, working on a chariot. Is it for the Skaven army that you were working on? They feel definitely like people that would be riding in the chariot. That thing with base coats. Yeah. I actually went and spray painted these base coats. I, as part of a personal to-do list, was stepped out to go and get some rattle cans. A rattle can. A minor conversion. Yeah. No, love to Kitbash. I mean, you know, there is a degree of customizability that is always really rewarding with miniature games, in my opinion. And finding those ways to make the thing that you're working on feel unique is always nice. I've got kind of like a bolero shirt and a deal going on here. It's pooled in the corners in a way that I don't necessarily super want. Let's maybe take that back a little bit. Dial that back a little. There we go. I'm just pushing the red around at this point. That's fine. Also ended up making that a bit patchy. Let's redo that. There we go. Nice. What else on this needs? Magentarifying. Oh, the inside of this. Yeah. Makes sense. Ooh. Okay. I think that's the lot for this one. Dropped a couple of whip pieces. Oh, hey, Vixie. Good morning, good morning. For later consumption. I mean, I can take a glance at that now. Oh, I see. What a weird kind of like Urokta from Monster Hunter style dragon thing that's pulling this chariot. And I see it's got like what the design on that is Slaneshi, and the like the little like banner that they're carrying and stuff. Very cool. It's a nice warm terracotta purpley thing that you're using as well. I'm looking forward to seeing how you build that out in layers. That'll be cool. This character is in a bodysuit, so we are actually going to be painting almost all of this in our red, magenta. Although I'm not being very accurate with it, but that's fine. Again, we can do cleanup later. It is not the end of the world. if the current coloring isn't perfect. Oh, there we go. I might need to change the focus again to be a little further away from the camera than that. This process of attaching this one together was actually somewhat difficult. There was lots of bits and pieces involved because it's the process of gluing plastic to metal, and then also trying to get the anatomy feeling seamless. And I did not do a very good job of it. The arms are, I think, a couple of millimeters too long for what they are, which, well, whatever. I think painted it will feel cohesive, but when it was in its still metal, partly plastic form, it looked kind of jank. I won't lie, it looked a bit jank. But we are persevering. And actually, I think with most of it now in the same color, feels a bit more cohesive. And it'll be even more cohesive when we do stuff like put a wash over it to kind of get the colors all back in line with each other and things like that. I think that will do a lot to get it to sit and feel sensible with itself. I think that's all the red I want to put on it there. Oh, maybe this as well, the little decorative wrapping around the gun. Let me check at this kind of distance. What's the focus at this kind of distance that we need? There we go, that's a little better. All right, cool. All right, that is all the red. We did it. Or red, pink, or what have you. So now it is the process of thinking what we want our second color to be. We have our lead color, and thinking about how we go and build it out. It's going to be really important because it has to be something that will complementarily sit alongside it without clashing too much as our secondary color. Blue is a sensible option, but we use blue quite a lot on our bits and pieces. Oh, do I want to use blue? Orange is also a reasonable option. Orange might be fun, actually. Shall we go with orange? Let's go with orange. Let's be brave and bold. Because these characters are also similarly brave and bold. We're going to be using our Fire Giant Orange Speed Paint that we dipped into a little bit last time. I need to decide on where this is going on our various minis. Boots are a pretty solid option for it, but we can see where else that might go. Yeah, boots and secondary accessories and things like that. Yeah. We do want to maybe a metal. Let's do it on the leader. The leader actually has a fair amount. Okay. Touch into our orange. We can close you. Stay closed. Thank you. Let's go pick up our leader again. And with the orange, go into her jacket. Oh, sure. It's like a terracotta. A brick red, almost. That's fine. I think that sits reasonably well. We might have to think about what cool tones we can have to sit alongside it. I guess we go for cool tones in the metal. Whoops, sorry. If we go for cool tones in the metal, that will, I think, offset the warmth of the main and secondary colours. There's a bit of the jacket there that I didn't get. Let me revisit that. Wah. Dip. Okay. This might end up a little orangey, but that's fine. Just get that in there. Ooh, excellent. Oh no, I got her hair. Oh no. Yeah. Orange sits okay on that, I think. And her little high tops are going to be in orange as well. We'll resolve whatever white detailing they might have on further tweaks, but for now we're just kind of blocking in the colours. Let's not make this more complicated than it needs to be. He says not using a painting handle. There we go. Excuse you. Out of the way. Orange with the magenta. How are we feeling? Is it obnoxious? I mean, obnoxious is fine. To be real, we do want to give it a vibrancy of its own. So maybe it's fine. I don't know. Thinking. It doesn't feel like it's competing with the pink too much. And we can definitely layer the orange in a different way to make it feel different. But yeah, we can sit with that as the secondary color on bits and pieces. We might revisit this mini and add more orange when we realize that's what we need. Because we're doing stuff like going in on the boots with it. Is this showing up right? Yeah, there we go. I really like these spiky glam rock boots that all of the Eschers have. Big fan. Definitely one of the reasons was like, oh, now I want to paint this team. Because, I don't know, I guess a lot of this, like, genre, or this era of nerd culture is really informed by music choices. So much of, like, early Warhammer stuff is informed by like rock and metal, but you never really see it reflected in the minis that often. You know, it's not... The noise marines are a thing, or were a thing, but they're not necessarily considered at the forefront of the design space for Warhammer products now. And I think that's a shame. You know, I think that kind of wearing influences on their sleeve does the franchise well. And I always like it when there's things are inspired by music. I've always enjoyed that. Oh, this is a little difficult to get at. It's fine though. Oh, sorry. There we go. In the corners. Is there anything? Oh, there's a underarm on that I didn't get. Going back over these and then seeing the bits and pieces that I missed. The nature of batch painting. Old Fantasy Chaos was peak Nordic battle cover. Yeah. Old stuff though, right? You know, that kind of design approach is no longer especially common. And, well, the kind of glam vibe of these is, I think, you know, slightly, shall we say, left of center, out of left field rather, for, I think, Warhammer as a franchise, right? It's not... Glam is definitely something that they engage with more than nothing, but not that much. So finding those opportunities to work that in, I think, is cool and good, actually. There we go. I can like maybe red wash the orange, actually, bring that in a little bit. Because one of the inspirations I guess I have for this set is like Vivienne Westwood, but also kind of like Mean Girls, that like pink tartan energy, and maybe if I'm feeling brave down the line, some of the larger stretches of fabric in the pink, I will go over in a fine brush to kind of put some tartan lines in black and white. Love these big goth boots on this as well. Sick as hell. Okay. Doing the back of this foot. Yeah, there we go. Gosh, very, very detailed minis. I guess this is why it's one of the reasons why it's beneficial to paint a ton at once, because you can keep returning to them once dry when you've gone through the set. And now that it's dried a little bit, and you can take a moment to step away from where the design is at so far, you can assess what else needs doing. Okay. Slightly messy job, I must admit, but then I am not going to be trying to work for a golden demon or whatever anytime soon. This is designed to be tabletop ready. You know, a functional team that I will be able to recognize from 3 feet away and tell each of them apart. I'm going to look forward to giving them all different, very, very bright individual hair colors too. That's going to be cool. Let's do the feathers at the end. Any secondary? Oh, yeah. I want to go and do the belt. Again, this is straying into no one is going to see this part territory. But hey, might as well. If I remember to do it, I should do it. Cool. Alright, anything else about this design that I would desperately want to go and put in? Oh, her underjacket. Yeah, nice. Okay. We've got, what, 3 pieces with the orange subtones now? And then I guess we start working on the blacks/greys with the minis. I'm gonna have to decide how to do the weapons too, innit? Gosh. Oh, we've already done this one. There's actually a lot to consider in putting detailed bits together, how you want to do the colors on things like this. I think having stuck with the rule of how I'm coloring these, so the same parts being colored the same way. So even though this character's shoes are different in style from everybody else's kind of like big boots, these are still orange with maybe white bottoms. I feel kind of like trainer-like, maybe. I don't know. Is there anything else on you that needs to be orange? Possibly your shirt, actually. Which is a little difficult to get at. Or your tie. Your tie needs to be orange and your shirt's in white. And I will do the shirt in thick white paint later. Wow. Let's remove some of that orange that's wayward. Ooh. Does that also... Sorry, give me a second. I'm trying to decide this kind of area in the middle and what color that is supposed to be. I can see a belt buckle in there. I might dip back into that in the magenta and just kind of like fill some of the space there that feels underdone. So in there, down here, should just fill that entire bit. It's too much. remove some of it, please. Thank you. Yeah. That feels at least colored in, even if I decide to go and change that later. And I can do the belt buckle in the same, like, brown or grey. That'll be doing the other bits and pieces. And the back of that came out great. Yeah, alright. Shoulder pad? Let's see. Let's see what's next. Maybe I do skin tones next? I don't know. Tom, when you do your minis, do you tend to do skin tone early or late in the proceedings? A difficult question, huh? Oh, I can definitely stand to load my brush up more than that. Yeah. Didn't realize it was a tricky question. Generally put a coat on early-ish to see where the flesh is a bit better. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. In that case, we'll go and do we'll do that next. We will do flesh tones after we're done applying all the orange. And I think it'll feel a bit more complete and human once the skin tone is in. Because there's always a point midway through painting minis where it feels a bit struggle bus. You know, you're like, I actually don't know how to paint anything at all, and nothing that I have ever painted has ever been correct. Depends on how much flesh is showing. I mean, most of these characters have the midriff exposed, so that's probably something we should properly paint. I'm actually going to do the scabbard of this also in the orange. Just a little bit of a fill there. This is coming through all right? Yeah. So you're not seeing my face much as I'm leaning all the way in, going like, but yeah. This is sensible. This leg is fully armored in the orange. Okay. Air bubbles in it. There we go. Yeah. Fantastic. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna have fun working out what I'm gonna be doing with this computer. Anything else on here that needs to be in orange? No. Even though Necromunda fancies itself as being very grim and grimy, I think I might do most of the weapons in like shiny silver. I don't know. I want the metal to really pop. Oh goodness. this tie for the katana, I think, needs to be in the magenta too. As well as its little handle at the end. Okay. All right, looking good. We've almost got all of these done in orange now. Just 2 more. I am unsure where I'm going to be painting orange on the final model though. With that being a bodysuit, there is not a lot of room for alternative color schemes on that thing, but oh gosh, that back. But everything in the way. Everything in the way. Detail work never actually existed. It was all lies. Block fill. Block fill is the future. Fear is the mind killer, etc. Okay. Anything else on you that needs to be orange, madame? Maybe this strip? Yeah. Let's do this. Strip also in orange. Yeah, there we go. It might resolve that orange is like the basis of our leather color, in which case I will probably need to go back in on a lot of these to add that back in as a detail. But for now, we are doing okay. I'm also going to have to refresh my water. I think it's probably time for a 5-minute break soon anyway, right? Ooh! Alright, where is the orange on you? You do have boots. You do have boots, so those boots can go and be in orange. Close, please. And in fact, if I paint these in the same way that I'll be painting the other minis in the squad, even though like the art style, as it were, of this mini is so different from the others because it's from a different range entirely from the bits and pieces I'm using in the others, it will still feel, I think, unified once the color scheme is unified, you know what I mean? No, I definitely enjoy the fact that this gang are so disparate in their design origins and places. I think that works really well with the idea of what this gang is, of disenfranchised queer youth getting together and fighting as a team. So if they all look a little different at each other in build and art style and all that, then that's good, actually. That fits what we're trying to do. Okay, we've got 2 of our speed color contrast paint layers down. And we're going to go and take a 5-minute break. And then when we return, we'll go and continue. Right, see you in 5. Planning on playing Necromunda with them or something else? I do actually want to go, before I go, I do actually want to go and play Necromunda with them. It'd be a shame to go buy them for a specific game and work all this on them and then never actually play Necromunda. I'm more interested in playing Necromunda than I am any other Games Workshop kind of like war game, but also with them being kind of cyberpunky in design. Oh, you are super, but that's fine. We're just about to go for a bit of a stretch, so we're going to be back in 5, and then I can catch you up on what we've done so far. So yeah, I'll see you all in 5 part. Okay, we are back. Hi. I was gone exactly 5 minutes. Thank you for waiting, everybody. Well, we did a bit of a refresh. I refreshed my water. I now have a little bit more light for myself, actually, which is really useful. Hope everybody else also had a good stretch. We're feeling that now is the time for some skin tones. We have a Crusader skin and unfortunately a hardened leather for light and dark base skin tones, and then I can kind of do some additional nuances in terms of color and layering and highlights later on. We also have ourselves a G&T. It is very good. But let's see, how do I want to go and sort these by kind of color? We're going to do these 2, these 2, those 3. These that way. All right. Yeah. Okay, let's go and do the light skin tone first. I'll give this a good shake before I go and do that. Ooh. But yeah, Come and Go Tavern. How have you been? How has your Saturday been so far? I hope you've been having a good morning. Prepping meds for guinea pigs to be away from chat for a few more minutes. No problem at all. No problem at all. Take your time. We are not going anywhere. I might need to. Well, no. We can. Reset. Assert our dry. And there we go. All right. How are we doing in terms of like angle and everything? This will be fine. Gosh, this is not a lot of surface area to work with. This is a character that is in a full face mask, but that's fine. I'm always happy to have to draw less. I should have also remembered to clear up some of my wayward paint before doing this layer of skin tone, but that is fine. It's actually taking this lighter skin tone, or like the skin tone is actually taking to the purple undercoating that we did previously quite nicely, actually. Excuse me. Definitely liking how that sits in terms of getting a solid, recognizable purple undertone for all of it. Got out of bed a bit late, medicating an older. Oh, I've heard your guinea pigs sometimes while on stream. I'm sure they're adorable. Do I need to do some additional... I'm going to have to do some additional red jacket neatening. My hand is shaking slightly. That's fine. This is what the paint handle is for. Where did the paint handle go? There it is. Much better. You're in a position where you can see it all okay. Good. Some of these patches are a little bit too dark for what we're going for. Oh, yeah. No, it dries down quite pale, actually, huh? Yeah, that dries down fine. All right. Let's get the inside of the arm. Yeah, no, I definitely need to go back in with the magenta contrast to do a little bit of fixing there. But that's fine. We're painting the fingers. Oh gosh, the inside of this hand too. Considering I sprayed this outside and didn't think to like turn the mini upside down to spray it underneath, we really did get a pretty good coverage of all of this actually. Funny. I mean, maybe that's just how that always works. But it caught me by surprise. Yeah, there's some neck that we should probably paint. Let's get that in there. There we go. Oh, for those who have maybe been hearing me talk about it previously or who have been playing it themselves, I beat Disco Elysium yesterday. Well, I say yesterday, I guess it was very early this morning. I was playing it for quite a while. I think I finished around 1 when I started at maybe around 10. All right time! I enjoyed myself by the end. Again, those who have been listening to the channel a lot might have noticed that I've had... misgivings is maybe too strong of a word. But I was having a trouble adjusting to what the game's vibe, right? But I think I definitely settled in to what the game wanted to do and being along for the ride for that by its end. And all in all, a very cool game. Maybe the victim of internet overhype. I kind of wish that I had played it before everybody else had the chance to tell me that it was like the greatest bit of video game storytelling ever made, because I think that set the expectations a little too high. But it was a very good time. There's maybe a little bit too much in there. But hey, look at the contours of those abs. That is slurped the paint right up so you can see that definition. Ooh, baby. Let's take that back a little bit. There's a little extreme. Yeah, there we go. That's more in line. Yeah, you can really see the abs on that now, huh? I guess I should be showing it you this way up. That kind of a definition I would definitely have a hard time doing correctly. So I appreciate contrast and speed paint saving me a lot of time in that regard. I would probably find that shit real frustrating. And then her other ear. Just a touch. God, that's such a mess. No. No. I've managed to get it all over her pauldron. Out of there. Get out of there. Okay. Slightly messy. But we persevere, we move. Okay, we're gonna get the nice purple undertone on the back of the hand. As the skin tone kind of builds out. I remember this being one of the big, like, learning how to paint the human form thing is kind of like, well, you know, people aren't just flesh tone. There is a large amount of blood that is going on under the surface, and where that blood is focused and things like that tend to do a lot to color a person's skin in various places on their body entirely separate to, say, things like light source. Is the purple the final fabric color, or am I going to add something else on top later? What we're going to do is that, so as part of the base coating of this, I dry brushed it all in that lilac purple, just to kind of give everything that a bit of an undertone that's consistent across. We are going to be highlighting all of this like purple magenta in like a pinky peach to bring it up. This is much darker than I think I want the end kind of result to be, but I do want a strong pink to be the base, deepening it with a bit of a purple wash, and then highlighting it in a kind of like light pinky peach. So we're going from purple through to peach for the main coloring. It might be cool. We're hoping it will be cool. It might be shit. I can tell that there will be a lot of, hey, we've done all of our kind of coloring, but here's a whole bunch of things that still need doing. And that is okay. Thank you. I do think it'll be cool on the other side. I think, funnily enough, what made me think to do it in the first place was I was watching, what? I was watching an anime. What was I watching? 86. Which is it's a war story anime, actually. A nation sending off all their automated robots to go and fight a war for them, and we realize very quickly that those are not autonomous robots. There are people inside. It's kind of following the plight of those people as they are being sent off to die because nobody considers them to be truly human. And near the end of the run, of the storyline. There is a spring day, and there is cherry blossom very heavily in the shot, and they do a gorgeous coloring of like a plum through to a peach color in the cherry blossom. And I'm like, oh, that's actually a really beautiful color scheme. Sorry that all these teens are going to be sent off to die, but I'm going to put this in the back of my head to use as a color scheme for something later. Sorry to hear you're suffering, but I am inspired. It is pretty heavy. It's really good. It's really good. The dub is really good too. It's called 86. Like the number. We have Midriff here to go and paint. And we can decide whether we do these arms in a flesh tone or in silver. It might be a flesh tone, because there's somebody else who also has one of these arms in the design. So maybe to differentiate the two identical pieces of sculpting, we'll do one in flesh and another in silver to make them feel a bit different from each other. Yeah, heavy show, but good, really nice art direction. So yeah, that's what we're going for. Yeah, doing the flesh tones on this is actually quite chill. And not just because we're listening to some Persona 5 Beneath the Mask type jams. This is coming through, you can see what I'm doing. Alright, cool. I'm also going to paint the hairline. So when we do go and paint the hair, there is already a skin tone already present. That should hopefully deepen this a little bit. Okay. Yeah, we're painting these in flesh, that's right. Ooh, children be screaming outside. Have you been doing much painting recently, Draco? I know that you do a lot of Gunpla stuff as well, so you're actually doing all the crafting hobbies as of late. I'm very impressed with your ability to juggle that many creative tasks at once. That in skin tone, and then we're gonna revisit the metal parts of this once we start actually doing the metal of the mini. Have to remember that we're going to be doing a cool toned metal to balance out the really warm tone of everything else. How's this working? Let's see. This angle. Yeah. Like, there's a lot still unpainted, but it's turning into a thing. Slowly becoming actual work. But it's rough in places, but that's what the cleanup phase for later on is supposed to be, you know, it's not going to be hyper perfect on first pass. You know, if we were doing the like layering method, I have not. I have a team of Inquisitors / Rogue Traitors that are mostly done that I need to finish so I can use them for Death in Space. Yeah. Plus I need to finish building the Krieg squad. I saw some of the Krieg stuff you did before. You posted that on our Discord. Let's go get the deeper skin tone. Painting is my least favorite part of the heavy hobby because it's too close to your day job. I understand. because it's a hobby that I like. Minis is a hobby that I gained during lockdown. So I continue to associate with the painting part of it more than anything else. There's very little skin tone that comes through on this mini. That is okay. Let's get this on the base. Definitely envisioning a kind of Mohawk Storm vibe for this particular mini. Oh, this is actually quite a nice warm brown. Cool. Yeah. Good, and then we're doing the hand. Gosh, now the magenta's dried, there's a lot of bits and pieces of this that I'm kind of like, oh, that needs going over to be clean. But it's not too much. It's not too much. But I do definitely recognize the spots that I'm missing now. The way that I had to use a bit of Milliput initially to kind of put this head in, so the seam between the head and the rest of the body is actually kind of crispy. Not something that you'd notice at a distance again, you know, so it's something that we can get away with, but unideal. She has a fully mechanical forearm, or yeah, so that is all that gets painted in deep color. Likewise, this is the only part of her other arm that gets painted in flash tone. Gosh, doing the handle is going to be a pain. Oh, yeah, the palm of her hand. Go. Nice. I continue to be impressed with the variation in color depth this paint type creates. You're also better at getting a smooth thin coat than I am. Oh, thank you. There is definitely yeah, the consistency of the speed paint is, I think, definitely a factor in things being able to come out nicely. And I'm glad that I have continued to kind of build the dexterity of doing nice pieces in terms of smooth coats. Because sometimes it feels like well, you know, when you look at the Reddits or follow painters on Instagram, and I actually follow quite a few mini painters on Instagram now at this point, there's a lot of kind of like, oh man, this is really inspiring. I don't think I could ever actually make this. I don't think I could ever color something this well. And it's not, well, I guess it does stop me from working on pieces sometimes. But, you know, getting to use cheaty bits like this to kind of make the process less painful and actually get minis done is the most important part, more than anything else. As I was talking about this earlier in the stream, about, you know, finishing easy minis makes tackling harder minis feel plausible, doable. Because there are definitely some difficult minis that I'm like, oh, I really don't want to paint that. Can we just not? But being able to work on something like this, where it is mostly just working in contrast paints, and then if I can be fucked too, go in and work on finer detail later. I don't have to. Like, you know, I guess, you know, I'd be posting this on Instagram once, right? People might judge me for its quality at the time, and then after that, does that even matter? It's hard not to compare your work to other people's stuff here. Belisarius Call. I don't know who that is, I don't think. That's not somebody who I've come across in my ventures. I might at some point go take a look actually who I follow on Instagram and give some names, because they are pretty cool. Especially if you are specifically looking for sci-fi mini painters. Because there's lots of fantasy mini painters, right? And that does a limited amount of usefulness for me, so... Oh gosh. It's got caught in the eye a little bit too much for me. I want to get... There we go, that's a bit better. Ah, it's like a bit of hair that's getting in her eye. I see. I was like, oh, that's dark, you know, that's messing up her face in a way that I don't like, but that's actually a bit of sculpt that we'll have to work with later. Okay, cool. Big named commander for Adeptus Mechanicus, Gorgeous Munda, model tons of group. Oh, right, I get what you mean. Where it's like, oh, this mini is beautiful. Oh my god, how much of this do I have to paint? Unreasonable. I understand. We've got our Infinity hacker character who have turned into a dual-wielding pistolero. Mostly in a bodysuit. We have these small bits and pieces of her hands and face that are not covered in the suit. The sculpt of the hands is actually very nice. Takes the contrast paint really well. Yeah, this is... Here we go. Looking good. And now for the face. It's got like a VR visor going on. I have to say, the orange in the speed paint set and this brown are actually pretty similar. There'll be differences to how I will handle both colors that will mean it won't shake out as making their skin tone look orange as I continue to build the piece out. But it does kind of look like I've only painted 2 colors here where I've actually painted 3. Yeah, that's quite patchy. There are bits and pieces of that I definitely need to go revisit. Ooh, Now we've got the skin tone done. Let's briefly go back over some of that magenta and fix gaps, because I definitely saw a number of gaps across the designs. There's a little bit in the middle of the torso here. I think I'm just going to paint this entire part in. That's all come out quite nicely. This needs doing a little bit under here. Yeah, because some of these parts come out really nice, but other parts are like, no, I don't know. Getting in those gaps and crevices. This many. I don't want to get. Oh, this is too much. Went in a little bit too ham there. It's okay. We can wick away the excess. That needs to be caught. Bits of the back collar. Oh, again, too thick. And that end with the rest of the back. There we go. How do I want to approach that? I guess it's just being done in white after I'm done here. Talking to myself as I puzzle out how I'm going to fix the rest of this. Yeah, that's going to have to go back in white later. Had the patience. Oh, so hi NBZ. Long time no see. I hope you're having a good Saturday. Yeah. Painting minis does definitely take patience. But there is, I find taking the time to dedicate time to doing so, like doing a stream like this, definitely helps goals be met in that regard. We're currently going through having done a lot of the painting for this already in terms of like base colors, returning to the parts that look incomplete and just giving them a little bit of a touch up before we move on to the next step of what I want to paint. We are specifically using paints that do some of the coloration and shading process for us to make things a little easier. Because, well, goodness knows how difficult this shit can be. As you say, it is a test of one's patience. So to that end, I'm trying to make my life easy for myself because I'm doing so many minis at once and trying to find ways to take shortcuts, and that is allowed. Saturday's been pretty good. Having a herniated disc in your neck. Oh, yeah. That would definitely be uncomfortable. I am definitely, especially to make sure that I am keeping all of this on camera, hunching to paint a little more than I would normally. So we had to take a break midway through, just generally to stretch, but also to kind of be like, oh. But I'm doing okay. That was the exact noise I made, by the way, when I got off mic for the break. I immediately went. We'll be in that kind of area, but that's fine. We can make that work. Sorry, this is a point where I am looking real close and speaking very little, but it is temporary. We'll get back into our regularly scheduled programming once this shit's all painted. Right. I see. Lol, I would believe that. Yeah. Hold on. We're just gonna get a big dollop of paint inside that gap there. Yeah, and that's in shadow, so I don't need to worry too much about what that looks like. I got the full side of her hair. Let's get rid of that excess paint. We don't need that there, please. Thank you. We're gonna be painting the hair in a bold, wacky color later anyway, but you know, let's make things simpler for the bits that need to be simple. Okay. Just getting... I really like the sculpt of this jacket, actually. It's very... Oh, sorry. I really like the sculpt of this jacket. Very badass looking. Just filling in some of the gaps that I missed when I was painting this the first time round. I can see an area there where I didn't get the paintbrush to, but it's so under the model no one will ever see, and I shouldn't worry about it. The minis from a particular game or setting? Yes. So these minis are from Necromunda, but I have done some customization by taking bits and pieces from other games and other like bits. There are people that supply gameless bits, so I have been doing some customization to make them different. So, for example, the afro head here isn't from the base set, nor is this sci-fi gun that she's got, or the wrist blade. Those have been modified onto the mini to make them a bit more unique. Like the head, body, and legs of this mini are from entirely something else, but the electro whip and the gun are from Necromunda. It is like a gang skirmish game. Oh, thank you very much. It's something that I've been working on for a while. Like I've been putting together the kit bashing over some months, but it's only now that I've both managed to finish all the minis that I want to paint and feel like I'm ready to actually kind of, you know, start the process of finishing all these up and calling them a thing that I can use. Because I'm looking forward to actually using these in a game once they are finished. That's going to be cool. Oh, this character's midriff needs to be painted in flesh tones. I forgot. Let's do that. What's this? Let's go and paint this midriff before I forget again. There's so many. Yeah, the minis themselves are also intricate, wouldn't you believe? So there is a lot of kind of like, oh gosh, I missed out on this detail. Let's go back and fix that. Because you're essentially, you know, doing a bit of a paint by numbers dealy. You slowly realize what bits and pieces still require coloring as you proceed. Because we're going to be doing the kind of like darker parts, the greys and blacks in the minis next, and that is definitely going to tell me what parts of this need additional coloring attention. Painting the guns in the fun color is also going to be a thing I'd want to do. Those get to be in purple. I think those actually just get to be in bold purple. Hold on one moment. Okay, yeah, we've got our flesh tones, we've got our base reds, we've got our secondary color orange, and I think our tertiary color will be purple for the weapons. So let's start getting the dark bits going in Gravelord Grey. Actually, this is one that we might be able to mix. We can do a bit of Gravelord Grey and the purple and mix those together for the color that we want. We also have Hive Dweller Purple. Actually, Hive Dweller Purple comes through quite dark. We might not even use the grey. We'll see. We'll see. Let's get our painting handle back on the wagon, because it also means I can hold it out a bit more, and you can kind of see what I'm doing a bit better. So these kind of buckles. That's a little bit too much paint. Let's remove some of that, please. Thank you. This is, yeah, you can see. I need to do this, okay. That was wide. That was also wide. Oh dear. It's okay. It's okay if we paint some of this messy. We can always go back later and correct it. It is not the end of the world. There is regular layering and highlighting to do after we go and do all of these fancy speed paints. The speed paints on their own are nice, but I find it is working in combination with regular painting techniques that the end results really do sing. This is essentially doing the color blocking. So we know we have a nice clear guide of where we want to go and paint all our bits and pieces. Later. Oh gosh, I didn't do the inside of her boot at all. Boots. Boots looking good. Let's see if I can remove some of that purple. Hopefully that hasn't like locked in too badly. Yeah, I was able to wick some of that away. Okay. And then when that all dries down, I can go back in and do corrections. But I think her kind of like tights are going to be in this purple. Because it's quite dark, not necessarily desaturated, but it definitely, this kind of purple on the model gives me the impression of like leather a little bit. A bit leathery, but without being desaturated. It's still quite vibrant as a color. And I think I want all of my minis to be quite oversaturated. I quite enjoy that direction for them, so. Yeah. I'm gonna do booty, which is an area that you can't see, but I still want to paint it anyway. And we need to get just, tricky close areas. Tricky areas. In the middle of where that wire is. There we go. I love seeing colors on minis, much prefer it to the washed out grey style. I mean, yeah. I mean, so much of, well, the whole conceit of Warhammer 40k is it being grim, dark, and all that, right? So there's a lot of intentionally not having much color in it. And I prefer painting and designing things in a very lurid style. I mean, you can see my stream layout. I love vibrant, lurid colors, so I am much more interested in painting my minis this way. Also, you know, this particular gang, excuse me, their idea is being very kind of like provocative and punk rock. And, you know, if we're, or like glam rock rather, and if we're going to be going glam rock, then we can't be going with desaturated colors. It needs to be poppin'. Needs to be looking vibrant. Actually, there are parts of the gun and stuff that I definitely want to go and do in the purple. So let's keep this mini on the... we're probably going to be doing this in the purple, and we can actually slather this on because we're not too fussed about the finer details on this one. So we can just get all of this in there. Yeah, looking good. It's picking up the details in it very nicely. And underneath. Over the top is definitely a great theme in miniatures painting, and you've seen your rainbow Eschers. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, these minis need to be seen from quite a distance, and that's going to be difficult if they're all grey and desaturated. You're going to find it much more difficult to pinpoint one mini from a dozen on a table if they are all in nondescript, indistinct colors. So in my perspective, I am painting for that. I do see these as game pieces as much as they are craft projects. So a personal goal is to make sure that these would all look useful and distinct. Particularly because in Necromunda, there is a pretty big encouragement to color, to design your minis as thou wilt. There's a lot of wiggle room in terms of the design of these, but you can change weapons and things like that, and upgrade your characters. But obviously, once you've painted the miniature, unless you build it with like magnets and things like that, very difficult to go and change the colors or change the weapons again. So I figure that my way around that issue, sorry, leaning forward a bit so you can see, is to make them really vibrant, and then it's kind of like, oh, it is the mini with shocking pink hair that has the Tesla cannon. I don't know what the weapons in Necromunda are, so I made that up. But using those kind of ways to determine which character is which by very vibrant coloring, I think helps a lot in being able to tell minis apart if you are not using the standard sculpts or designs. You're not going to be mistaking these units for any other units for a start. And then on top of that, you know, they are all very distinct from each other in terms of posing. Yes. Ooh. Exactly, should be legible who has what equipment at a glance. Yeah. And even though some of the things that I'm using here are not standard issue because they are from other designers, as long as it's like, oh, this is clearly a heavy weapon that this character is carrying, then we do okay. No, I definitely remember the rainbow Eschers that you posted before, and they looked sick. There's a bit of, oh gosh, I've flubbed this. Can't believe you've done this. All right. Yeah, that's gonna have to be a detail fix later, because I don't think I can fix that right now. That's fine. That plating needs to be in orange. Do I do that now? I might as well while the thought is in my head. Oh gosh, we're getting to nitty-gritty territory here. This bit of thigh is actually all in orange. I did not catch that before, but I am catching that now. There we go. Much better. Okay, where do I want to go to next? I think the purple on this one's done, so we're going to move on to another one. Okay, so a rocket and ray gun AdMech. I don't think, have I seen that? I don't think I've seen that. these. Okay. I'm going to move you over there because you're done. And we're going to move the rest of these over here. Okay. I need to give myself some more purple. Where are you at? Here we are. Okay, what are we doing in the purple? We're definitely making this sci-fi laser cannon in the purple. I think the details in it will also stick out real nice. This gun is supposed to be one that's supposed to be used two-handed, but I could not get the mini to cooperate, so she's holding it down while running. And then she can, we've got it set so she can like theoretically use her other hand to grab the bottom of the rifle if she was about to attack. God, getting minis to just posted them after mentioning their commander. Ah, okay. So I see. Glancing over to my Discord. I will have a look at those in a second. Getting minis to hold two-handed weapons properly is an absolute nightmare. Hated doing it. The final mini of this set that I put together yesterday was the one that we just painted with the chain gun. Sucked to get that to construct. It was actually maybe my second or third attempt at getting that to work, because I had definitely put the glue and clippers down in frustration, just like, man, F this. We want the knee pads. Because this is suggesting what the kind of like dark leathery bits are. There's maybe a little too much liquid on there. We resolved to do the bottom halves of the boots in the purple as well, didn't we? Because we've painted the others that way. Just realized you got some of the old metal Escher. Oh, nice. Phone's about to die, so be lurking. No problem. Thanks for hanging out with us. The compromise to have a wrist knife as she runs looks good. Cool. Nice. Let's have a look at the thing you posted. AdMax. Ah, yeah. With the glowing, like, coils on the rifles. That looks cool. Nice. Ooh. Yeah, there will definitely be a manual additional painting phase. These will not be Instagram ready for some time, I'm thinking. And that is okay. I mean, like, shit. I barely post to Instagram as it is. And I'm not finishing these just so I can get, you know, non-clout. My mum looking at these being like, that's nice. You know, we're not doing that to impress the internet. We're doing this because, what's the term that people use? Slay the grey? Just working through the bits that we own. I'm trying to, at minimum, have all my bits and pieces constructed. And to be honest, I am maybe about somewhere between 5 to 7 metal minis off that being true for me. Which is great. Love to have those checked off the list. Constructing metal minis is a pain, which is why that's not done yet. But, you know, Constructing and basing metal minis is a bit of a nightmare. These are the people in lab coats mentioned some weeks back. Did their metal in a combination of steel and bronze with brass for the commanders. Love using corrosion special paint for the plasma guns. Yeah. I adore using fluorescent paint, and I will find any excuse. To kind of use fluorescent paint in the stuff that I work on. There will probably be fluorescent paint as a finisher on these guns for their highlights. Stock of the gun. Okay. I need to decide what the bits and pieces at her waist are going to be coloured like. These accoutrements, what that's going to be coloured as. Don't know yet. Not going to think about that now. We'll return as we get to the guns as fashion is so Necromunda. I mean, yeah. Yeah. You know, if you spent so long custom building these things, you might as well make them look nice. Why spend all this time scrounging the parts to go make a gun if you don't think it looks pretty? I say, knowing literally nothing about guns. But yeah, we're just going through and adding purple where I think the purple needs to be. Either to the gun itself, which will be made a bolder, more fluorescent purple, or to the other parts of the mini that suggest being made of leather and the like, rather than going for the brown Mad Max leather. This is definitely black, shiny nightclub leather. You know what to do. Butt of the gun. Yeah, colouring it in like this also gives me a good impression of what other bits need to be done in other colours. I guess the segments on this? The segments in this should be in metal, actually, so we're not going to do that. The shoulder plate. And the shoulder pad is definitely... I think you can see. Oh, no. Okay. Didn't get this edge here. Let's just get that real quick. There we go. Legs are going to be in shiny, shiny metal. So is the rest of that glove. So it's probably that skull. Okay, so I think we're probably done in terms of doing purple on her. How long have we been doing? 3 hours. Let's see how we feel when we get to 4. Even if this is just the start of getting these where they need to be, that is perfectly fine. We don't need to finish 6 minis simultaneously in 4 hours. That would be pretty difficult to do, I think. I don't know. there are probably people that can work at that kind of clip. I'm not practiced enough to do so. Painting them high heels. They've got very now that I'm like, you know, looking at it, very kind of like a sunsetty color scheming to them, which is nice. I'm into that. That might reflect, because as I was saying earlier, I didn't really have like names or stories for this gang yet. I guess that's something that will manifest as I finish painting them. I will have a better idea of what I want to go and call these fabulous ladies and guys and NBs, because this is a very gender non-conforming group of warriors, so they are not all necessarily female. If I'm doing the knee pads in purple, what do I want to make her upper thigh colour in? Maybe that's also still in purple and it's just all... Yeah, that's fine. Let's not overthink it. To pick a squad up, I mean... I don't know what style of Necromunda would be your jam in terms of gangs. I don't know, you know what you normally roll with when it comes to kind of like tactics games. What's your vibe? What's your vibe? Do love some hired guns, evil water carp, and the rest of those look cool. It's a cheap game to get into. You can only play with one gang. Yeah. Let's go look at these. What is this? Mercator Nautica. Oh, I see. What would these even be part of? I mean, you do enjoy a deep sea theme. I do know this. Oh, I guess this is kind of like a hired gun unit. It's not part of not necessarily parts of a regular gang. You can put them into any. Add siphoning delegation to any law-abiding gang. Take advantage of special ties with House Escher. Sure. What's this other one that you've linked? House Graham. Ah, I've seen these. I've seen the second one. That's the design of these characters is quite cool, quite steampunky. And the man with the claw foot and the cane is very Dr. Eggman. Very grimdark Dr. Eggman. Nice. Forge Words kits don't look cheap though. Yeah, we're just gonna paint this entire thing in the purple and not think about it too hard. This is just deciding what that remaining color is just gonna be. We can tackle that later. Inside of this thigh. Oh, sorry. So this thigh also in purple. Actually, is there a way? I might actually have to engage with thinking about how to redo my camera setup, because it's clearly not quite far enough from... Let's see. Hold on. Cleaning my brush. Okay. Let's see. Can I? Do that? Is that even at all higher off the ground? I guess this and angling this down more. This might technically be higher off the ground so you can see more. Between Delac and Vensar. Yeah. I think Vensar would probably be a good fit for you. Delac was my kind of like secondary choice. I quite like, well, I mean, you know, I like House Dimir in Magic the Gathering. And the Delac group of spies is definitely the same energy. So I was like, they seem cool. I would be into that. Is there any other? Oh man, there's a lot of more magenta on this that I need to do now that I've filled in more of this, but that's fine. Painting in these big old boots. Would you also do Delac is easier to build and probably to paint? Yes, they have a lot of robes. Yeah, I don't think I would want an entire Delac army. I would probably just want the one to kind of like do up as a crossover between Dimir and... Oh, bollocks. Hold on. Okay, wiped away. Nice. Between Dimir and Delac, I would enjoy that as an overlapping idea. Infinity Vibe from Vensar. Yeah. That was my question before I went and distracted myself. Would you also do any kit bashing, Tom? Since you're used to the idea of doing conversions, since you mentioned that previously. Would you take some of the, you know, like cheaper Infinity bits and kind of splice them in? Find a custom vibe. I think this holster. This is a gun holster. Oh, I got a bleep. Where did that come from? That may have been Forge World trying to get my attention. Go away. Probably have to see what the kits look like. Do you like minor conversions? I mean, it was, I must admit, it was not necessarily easy to do the kit bashing for these. There was a degree of, like, the kits are not designed necessarily to be mashed up with other bits super easily. So I had to do a lot of work to get it to where I wanted it to be. And the end result is nice. I like how these end up, how these have looked. Excuse me. And now that they are in the process of being colored, they definitely feel more unified than maybe where they were when they were just monochrome pieces. But, you know, we're definitely painting the shoulder pad. Oh, I managed to get a lack of paint on her cheek. Go away. There we go. Anything else in here that needs to be... Oh, okay. Accidentally got some paint in here. Is it too late to remove it? Not too late. that can be revisited. I'm definitely not going to put that. Some quite detailed scabbard of roses on the thing. That would be a pain to do. That said, Tabletop Simulator could get more people in from overseas. I mean, yeah, of course. The process of playing any tabletop game is made easier done digitally. But I don't get to use minis that I have designed and painted myself online. Okay. These knee pads in purple. Because, yeah, I mean, to get more games under my belt, I really should be looking to Tabletop Simulator, or even just game days at the local. If you like that flower-encrusted weapon, that is also from Anvil Industries. They have an entire kind of like regiment that you can get that have that theme. Anvil Industry. I can't remember the name of the regiment for it, but it's probably pretty easy to find in the listing. I assume they are Sisters of Battle proxies, based on what the rest of the sculpts look like. Painting the guns. Well, this gun is probably going to be in purple. And then the other gun will be in a different colour. Anvil Industries, yes. Give me a second. I will finish painting the thing. And then I will go and find them online. Because there's Cyberpunk set of what I used to do a lot of the conversions for this. It was really cool. They are currently... They've most recently released a Weird West, or like a sci-fi Wild West set of Kitbashed parts. That could also be really, really useful. And if you are super into the, like, Ash Wastes expansion, or whatever the Necromunda is going through at the moment, you would probably be interested in some sci-fi Wild West bullshit. So, you know, they're also a UK company, which is nice. That wrist guard is just going to have to be something else. This wrist guard could be in a... Oh, that's the butt of the gun. That's fine. I see, I see. Just picking out lots of the straps around this unit's legs. And then I think this backpack, or whatever this is also going to be in the purple. Just slap that shit on. We can afford to be faintly messy. Otherwise, this will take forever. Okay. All right. Oh, no. I want this bit also done, please. So spikes here in this pauldron. Oh, no, that's not pauldron. That's shoulder. That's shoulder. Oh, no. Whoa. and do that. That's probably going to have to be revisited in magenta, but that's fine. We're doing layers. Gene Stealer Cult has some lovely vehicles. Looking forward to vehicles in Necromunda again. I didn't realize that they had vehicles before. Interesting. I mean, that's not really what drew me to Necromunda as a game. I like the on-foot skirmishing stuff makes me think of, like, you know, Final Fantasy Tactics and shit. I mean, I was going to say Fire Emblem, but obviously Fire Emblem has horses and things like that, which is not... Nah. Right, let's find this thing on Anvil Industries for you. Yes, here we go. The Burning Rose faction on Anvil Industry gives me big, you know, Sisters of Battle. These are battle nuns that have a gothy gold spiky crown imagery, but also have sci-fi guns, you know. You can get like a flamberge sword on these Robo Knights. Pretty cool looking. And then let's see. Let's find the cyberpunk set of bits because they are also pretty cool. Regiments infantry, cyberpunk. You can there's an option to buy, I think, 30 quid's worth of parts, 30 quid's worth of bits that you get to customize a little bit, so you can decide what bits they send you, and that's cool. It's very cool. I did that. I got the 30 quid's worth of cyberpunk bits and pieces. And they sent me all those, and then I used them to build these monstrosities. Nah, kid, they're doing well. I like these a lot. I am very proud of how they've turned out, even though parts of this paint job are a little slapdash, maybe. That is in service of done is better than perfect. And I think as I return to these and continue to tinker with them, they will continue to improve in design and style. You know, can't be hyper fussy. Well, I can, but this stream would be a lot longer. You know, I would be frustrating myself a lot more, I think, if I was trying to be a big perfectionist about this. I can always do the blocking of colors and forms now, and then return later with the fancier bits, especially when I have a better idea of what I'm doing. This is the last mini that needs the purple. What do I want to do after we've got there? We're 3:30. Or rather, we've been going for 3.5 hours. We're starting to approach lunchtime, dinner time for me, so I'm going to have to start preparing to wrap up soon anyway. But what do I want to do before we finish? Do I want to maybe experiment with the layering? Maybe. It'd be nice to kind of get some of my idea of the pink involved before we wrap, just so we can kind of see what it looks / feels like on our mini. I think that's probably what we're going to do. We'll finish up doing the purple blocking on this. And then we will return to our bodyguard in the suit. And use them as a way to experiment or test this coloring idea that we've got going. Oh gosh. Because it's not awful as it stands. I'm highlighting the fact that there are gaps in this thing that I didn't properly paint previously and would need to before I would consider this like done or what have you. But you know, we're making headway. Making headway. Let's just do that. This gun also needs to be in purple. This new camera height, I think, is better. Accidentally out of frame less often. Oh, speaking of future tabletop tea times. Oh no, I got multiple blobs of purple in her hair now. Oh. Streets of New Capenna is coming up soon. Pre-release is next week. Then the available release will be the week after that. I do not have any sponsored streams this time, unfortunately. But if folks would be interested, I'm definitely... And I've never really done this before, of like buying a box. But I would be down to blow some cash to open a booster box of New Capenna. I've never actually bought... Well, no, that's not true. I bought a little while ago a box of Jumpstart that I can play essentially as a board game with my friends. But beyond that, I've never really bought a booster box of anything before. So it'd be interesting to do so in this instance. And I would be delighted to open them up on stream if that would be a thing that people would want. I will be going to the pre-release, definitely. Pre-release is, I think, the primary way that I play Magic. Although, recently I've been able to play it in, like, a casual kitchen table way more often, which has been a delight. Attended a convention a little while after, Kamigawa came out and was able to pick up games with people just in the hotel lobby of the convention space, and that was really fun. I ended up like not actually attending some other events and panels because I was so delighted to be able to actually play with others, which caught me by surprise. It was really good. I really, really enjoyed that experience. So hopefully, circumstances being what they are, I'll be able to do that a bit more often. Not necessarily specifically going to conventions to play card games with people, but, you know, playing in person. Tom and I used to, in our university days, play kitchen table magic a ton. And I was never very good at it. I am maybe slightly better now, just by the amount of time that it's been part of my hobby. I've never been one for doing big competitive builds. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Weeb Reality Chip EDH deck. Reality Chip is a card I really want, but I am very bad about setting aside time to go and just buy singles. Like, so much of my nature of playing Magic the Gathering as a card game, big stretch, has been events. So I'd never really think about, if you've got a spare regular one. Yeah. Absolutely. I like the, I actually like the regular art of Reality Chip more than the, like, all art, to be honest with you. So I would gladly take that. Thank you. Yeah, these are coming along. Now that we've got more colors in them, they feel definitely more unified. They're not done. Good God, are they not done? But they definitely feel more coherent. All right. Let's get to some of the other bits and pieces of what I wanted to do. Let's get a more detailed brush. Is this fully clean though? This needs maybe a bit more cleaning. Let's get a thin coat of, actually we don't need to do a thin coat. It's just a washed, a slightly moisturized direct coat of pink in some areas on this to kind of bring it up. Oh, we need to shoot a bulb. I mean, I could probably put a touch of magenta in there to kind of bring it in line rather than using a glaze medium, because I think my magenta is actually quite translucent. Oh gosh, I am stiff. Where is my magenta? I know you're here. Cannot outrun me. Yeah, process magenta. Or comes out quite pink, red pink. So we're gonna take a nice dollop of that and get it on my wet palette. I did not wet this brush in advance, you can tell. There we go. Living in the city. Keep the dream alive. So we're just getting a nice blend of the magenta and pink together. It's too much of it, so we're going to remove some. And we're just going to, on the places that it's kind of risen out, we maybe have a little too much on us. Oh, no, this is fine. Just kind of lightly brushing it on the areas that we want to bring up a bit more. Because it's quite translucent, we can actually afford to be reasonably thick with it. Because we can always, well, at some point in this, we're going to take a wash to bring some parts of this back down. Yeah, we've got a bit more of the make this a bolder rather than a darker color in a lot of the raised areas. Can afford to be slightly slapdash. Again, we're building for the tabletop. We're not going for being perfect here. We're just going on vibes. You can see that, right? Yeah. We're not quite dry brushing. We're just finding the raised areas of our piece. And just giving it a thin glaze of pink. Just enough to, because it was previously very magenta, right? But we definitely, my envisioning is very pink, so finding the opportunities to bring that back out in the design is what we are looking for. And not accidentally painting over the colours, please. So in the upper shoulders. Some of these. Perhaps. Yeah. And the sculpt really helps as well. The clothing, the really bold clothing folds on this have been pretty good for helping that carry through. Yeah, I'm liking this. This feels good to me. It definitely reads a lot more pink on the camera now as well, actually, which is nice. Yeah. No, I dig this so much more pink than what we had going before. Just building that up a little bit more. Yeah, nice. Let's do another one, and then we can return to this with the peach color. Let's go for this. This is a lot of pink on it. Catching it in those muscles. Gosh, it is very, very bright pink on webcam, which is great. And the orange feels more like an interesting contrast now, actually. Okay, Cool. Into that. Let's just build up this a bit more because I ruined that by making it too purple. We're still going to have to work out how to do all the metal on these, and I think that's a job for another time. Not doing that right now. Okay. Cool. Are there any others that I want to build up in that style of pink? Yeah, this one will do. Although there's areas of this that are unpainted that need repainting. That is okay. I need to remove more of the... Yeah, there we go. And we're just kind of glazing it on. It's not fully opaque layer, so we're still getting some of the coloring and shading through, even if we're not perfectly hitting every area, highlighted area, that even the spaces, it's not by hitting, it's getting purple, it's getting pink on it without entirely changing the contrast shading job that we were doing before, which is ideal. It's what we want. It's a little patchy, but that's okay. Gosh. Very vibrant now. Okay. Right. Oh, this actually has a ton of real estate of pink at the back of it. So this would be ideal for finding spaces to make more vibrant. Just glazing that additional pink on. Nice, nice, nice. Make it feel actually pink. You know, and even though I haven't like doused the entire thing in this new glaze of pink, it feels so much more pink than it was before. Can't wait to see more of this in future. Watching you build paint always motivates me to work on my own, but I do need to go prep for your own stream. Yes, this is we can you go live in like 15 minutes. We can hold out until then. Start early. Is my request. Start early, so then I'm guaranteed to pass on to you. That'd be great. I'm just gonna do the edge of these a little. Yeah, working on how we're gonna do the electro whip in terms of coloring is a puzzle for another time. But you know, definitely bringing. I am already pleased with the effect of just having to glaze that additional bit of pink has kind of brought a bit more of the color vibrance and depth that I was hoping for. You know, Making things more vibrant by adding hue shifting rather than by just making a color lighter or darker. Not just using a light magenta here, we're fully using... What are you streaming this afternoon? Yeah. Come and go, Tavern. Yeah, what you got going? I mean, you'll find out because I'll be passing all of your over. Please do go and give Shayla / Come and Go Tavern your support. They are a delightful VTuber. Okay, I'm gilding the lily a little bit there. I don't need to go in that deep. But yeah, that works out. Hold on. This way up to the camera like this. Then... You know? It's not done. It's super ain't done. So they vary. So for the actual Necromunda heads, like this one, they gave you faces and hairstyles separate, and you get to mix and match faces and hairstyles. For the Anvil Industry head, which is this one, it's a separate piece, but it only really goes on an Anvil Industry body. They're a bit too large for a Escher body. I think they'll sit fine on the kind of bulkier style characters, but for the Eschers who are a bit more svelte, the heads felt a bit too large. This is actually an Anvil Industry head, and I glued a hairstyle onto it. This head is from a Starfinder hard plastic kit. So it's definitely a mix and match. But for the Eschers, for the proper Necromunda Escher head specifically, it is a combination of faces and hairstyles, and you can mix and match. I think for the other clans, they're a bit more straightforward than that. Right. Let's start looking into getting a peachy. This is okay. Alright. Doing a shake of some Vallejo Air Yellow Ochre. So we're going to put just a drop of that. And then we're going to get our white back out. Drop of that too. And then we're gonna see if we can get a peach going. So we're taking our pink just a little bit yellow and a little bit white. We need more pink than that. More yellow. Oh, that's just too browny. I think I need a pure yellow rather than a yellow ochre to get what I need. Or maybe it's actually kind of like, you know, it was just yellow. Where was the just yellow? It was medium yellow. Oh gosh, that's very not. Not enough pigment in that at all. That's a bit better. Taking orangey going. And maybe getting some pink in there. This may be better. We have the red end of the orange, so that's fine. And then it's just making it light enough to do what we need it to. That's what I'm talking about. It's very thin, so I might have to be careful on the layering of it, but that is definitely the kind of peach that I have in mind, and I'm going to need to use a sharper brush than that. Let's go get this one out from before. It's a little more extra. Goodness. Sorry, concentrating. Too dark. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. So we're gonna go and get our full suit bodyguard character on once more. And we're just gonna very highlights with edge highlighting now. Just lightly running that across stuff like seams. So much more orangey than everything else we've got going so far, which is perfect. Mr. Coral. Because at this size, this distance rather, all we are around about is what we want more than anything else is contrast between the light and the dark. So finding those ways that we can increase readability by making the bright brighter and the dark darker is what we're looking for. I do realize that I probably should have got the purple wash out first, maybe. Because a purple wash is part of... I have just painted over that hand entirely. Right, okay, well. They just not process that that is a hand. Too much of my brush. Let's remove chunks of that. There we go. That's a bit better. Thin. Very watery. Oh, that's fine. Is this maybe something I should be dry brushing? Possibly. Possibly, actually, yeah. Okay. Let's not run entirely counter to our previous plans then. Oh, gosh. Damage control. Let's get our purple wash. Here. purple wash. And we're gonna start getting this in the recesses of the magenta. Unthinned. We don't need to thin it. We do need to be careful about how much of it we're using though. Let's start on a back low area. So we can go paint the booty first, because I think that'll be a visible way of so we actively get some purple to sit in the folds and crevices. And stuff like under the arm here. We don't need to wash the entire thing, just in the places that we feel that we need the additional shadow. And into those additional clothing folds, and that purple definitely already comes through much better. I believe the purple. Underneath the coat. The areas back here as well. Here. Here. There. Underneath the arm. Here, and then I'm going to have to thin that out a little bit. Back here, yeah, there we go. Underneath the shoulder pad. Just get those washes there. Yeah. So it's still pink, but you see that there's now a purple undertone in the pink. I think that looks pretty effective to me. And then I will have to dry brush, I think, the peach on instead, and it means I'm going to have to be using thicker paints than the airs because it's too thin to dry brush with. Okay. I'm in a position to do some quick washes of some of the remaining bits, maybe. Or is this a thing that I should be washing the entire mini down in? Or at least, you know, all the purple parts that are going to be purple anyway. And a thing I might need to think about. Maybe that's not a thing I do today, and I need to kind of think about the best way to proceed. All right. Rather than torturing myself about the best way to proceed, I think I've told myself that I need to think things through in terms of where we'll be going next, but we've made, I think, a lot of good progress. Let's get all this stuff to the side and let's recap what we've managed to do today. Putting these back. Nice. Ooh, big stretch. Okay, all right. Recap time. So we've been working on these Kitbashed Necromunda gang, Eschers specifically. We've been using both a mixture of the proper box that you can see here. Been using a mixture of the proper box. You can probably see that some of the poses and weapons are ones that we've already been using. But we've been doing stuff like having this computer here and this sword, this katana on the back, have been from various kit bashing and other kits. Most of them from Anvil Industries Cyberpunk range, which we linked up thread. So we have this lady running with a computer and a pistol. We have this unit squatting real low and dual wielding 2 guns. We have this afro and bandana unit with a sci-fi rifle and a blade arm. We have this heavy unit, really tall and carrying like a chain gun. We have this electro whip user in crimson booty shorts and a rad as hell biker jacket. We have this unit with twin bladed fists advancing. Very, very big hair. Very big hair. And last but not least, we have this bodyguard bouncer looking unit. Strapped to the nines with a flowery sword. And big, big Doc Marten boots. Nice. Is any of this that I'd like to dry off, actually? Hold on. Hold on. Let's remove some of that moisture. Oh gosh, I'm just removing. No, that was a bad idea. That was a bad idea. It's okay. Yeah, evened out. The problem with washes, especially this purple wash, is that it tends to dry down shiny. But I do have matte varnish. So even though it's drying down shiny, that's not the end of the world. I will be varnishing all of these once they're done. Okay. Let's not stress. Let's not fiddle. They're done. Good. Hold on. Let's move ourselves back to here and stop the germs. There we go. Oh, good work. Good work. We've been working hard today. Let's go and hopefully we have our friend Come and Go Tavern is already live. Yes, they are. They're playing Chroma Squad, Tactics RPG. Which is very, very good. Please do give them your love and support as we pass things over to them. Give me a second to get that going. Go. There we go. Excellent. Okay. I have been your... Thank you very much. We got it going. There are a few of the washes that look like they're polishing them. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've been your androgynous android game show host from the future, Nathan Blades. This has been the Neoncaster Twitch channel, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.